Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to the new video. I'm the Casual Racing Gamer, and today we are, well, first of all, we are heading to Spa. I got pole position. I have not won on this track before, so this is going to be my best opportunity to take a win at this track. So very exciting race here for me. But I am going to tell you guys, I'm going to actually share some tips. I love sharing tips on this channel, right? As a casual gamer, as a casual racing gamer, as a casual sim racer, I am not great at sim racing. I always claim that, but I feel like I've improved a lot, and I can definitely help out, other casual racers like myself. But tip number one, coming into turn one, anytime coming into turn one on any track that you have cars behind you, try to get to the inside and get out of the straight and get right on that gas and get out of turn one. That is tip number one on any track when you start out with cars behind you, because everyone is going to overrun turn one. It just happens all the time. So the quickest you can get your car out of the straight coming into turn one, the better off that any car overrunning is going to miss you. So you want to get out of that turn as quick as possible. Once we actually avoid turn one, now let's hop into the tips here, guys. Number one is, when I'm racing, and obviously pole position is going to give you the best chance to win a race. So spend the time doing hot laps, getting the best qualifying time possible. If that takes you an hour or two, I actually enjoy doing qualifying hot laps. I just enjoy learning the track and just trying to improve and improve. So definitely spend the time there, because when you start closer to the front, you're definitely giving yourself a better chance at finishing better. So that's obviously that's not going to help you get faster, but it's going to help you improve your starting grid. The more you practice, the more you put into your hot laps. But coming into a race, and this is a big tip I'm going to share right now that I always consciously think of myself, is think about your pace, your racing pace. All right. Don't worry about your qualifying time. Your qualifying time is going to place you where you want to be within a grid, but your running pace is going to be much different than your qualifying time. And I always work my pace based on the cars around me. I'm not going to drive as fast as I need to, as fast as I possibly can. I don't always necessarily need to drive the car to my limit. I just need to drive the car to a limit good enough to keep ahead of the car behind me. So in this race right now, you can say I have a really nice lead between second place here, right? The second place car is pretty far behind. What that tells me is I don't need to overdrive, because that leads to number two, which is consistency. Consistency is key. Consistency will get you better finishes. Consistency will win you races. So, I am not going to take myself out. I'm not going to run myself off the track. I'm not going to drive overly aggressive, because all I need to do is stay ahead of the car behind me at a pace where I'm comfortable driving. If I'm not over driving, the car behind me is not catching me, I don't need to push any harder just to show that I can drive faster. I'm not proving anything. I'm only putting myself at risk. And the thing with that is, you don't want to take yourself out. So only drive as fast as you need to. And what do I mean by that as well is, sometimes, there's turns where you can take flat out, but you're risking over driving it because you're driving, flat out. So I might lift in places to know that I'm going to safely make a turn or a corner if I lift at a slower pace than if I went flat out, where I'm actually knowing where sometimes if I don't hit it right exactly at the right time, running something flat out, and it's going to ruin me. I'm taking a chance. So I don't have to take a risk here. I have a nice lead. The car behind me, I am keeping an eye on that car behind me. And, I'm knowing how far he is and how far I have to push. And I'm not running my best, my fastest to the actual limit that I need to. I am lifting at places where if I'm running a qualifying lap or trying to run my fastest, I'm running stuff flat out. I'm not doing that in this race. I didn't feel like I needed to at this point until he actually if he was starting to gain on me, I might change my mind there. So consistency, race pace is your two biggest things. And this doesn't just have to be when you're in the lead. This can be anywhere within the pack as well. You want to know how far back the car is from you, how far is the car in front of you. If the car in front of you is so far ahead of you, and the car behind you, you have room. If you know you're not going to catch the car in front of you, even if you ran at the best you ever could possibly run, there's no reason to push that hard if you know you're not going to catch that car in front of you because he has such a lead. So worry about how far ahead you are from the car behind you, and that's definitely going to help you. So biggest thing is consistency. Just keep saying consistency is key, and that's practicing, right? We have to practice a lot. The next thing is, you know, if you guys are using, I am running the McLaren here, and just one thing to get certain here, you know, when people say short shift the McLaren, and I am running in PSVR2, when you're in VR and you're in the cockpit view, you're not short shifting the stuff that you're seeing. Your rev limiter is actually reaching the end when you're shifting. What that is equaling to is short shifting when you're running on a flat screen. So it looks like you're short shifting because your rev limiter isn't going all the way to the top. But when you're actually in the car in VR, your rev limiter that you're looking at actually does reach the top, and it tells you when to shift. Because it'd be kind of weird if you were shifting a car from the cockpit view when you shouldn't be shifting because it's not reaching the limit that it's showing. In the car, it actually reaches the top, and that just equals to looking like you're short shifting on what you're seeing on the actual flat screen. Now, the biggest thing with just driving in general is, and I know I shared these tips in the past, use the whole track, guys. Run over the curbs, know where the limit, where you know you might serve penalties in certain places, but use that whole track. Do not be scared to run inside, all the way on that curb, all the way on the outside on a curb. Use it all. It will help you get onto the throttle faster because you can, you know, coming out to a turn, running wider, you can really run that throttle harder because you have so much more track that that you can use. And one thing with road racing with me was, you know, I didn't understand the concept of, wow, you can actually run off the track all the way off to the curb, and that's supposed to be a good thing. You know, I used to think like, oh, I'm hitting the curb and stuff. That's pretty bad. But the curb is there, so you can get on that throttle sooner. And the biggest thing is, if you can get on the throttle sooner, it's going to be much better than braking later. So when you guys are having trouble getting better times, or even in qualifying, start braking earlier. You know, you always have this concept in your head where you need to drive the car further in and brake later. But I've always improved my time so much more when I brake earlier. When I'm struggling with a turn and I'm not getting out of that turn fast enough and I feel like I'm losing time, the first thing I do now is brake earlier, slow into the turn, and get on the throttle as soon as possible, because you're gonna gain speed. By the fastest you can step on that throttle is your car is going faster, you're moving faster. So brake earlier, get on the throttle faster, and that will help you improve your times in qualifying. So here you can actually see I did place P1, so I took a win at Spa, my first win at this track. So, you know, that was really cool. And I bounced back between a high B and an A, and this race I started in a B. And after this win, I went back to an A-rated driver, which is cool, but I'll be back to a B, I'm sure. But before this race, I actually took 2 P3s. So it was 2 P3s and a win that finally got me back to an A, but I'll be back to B pretty soon because that's just how I roll. But if this video helped you out, guys, thumb it up, subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. We out of here. Peace.